I'm Kayla.
I'm Anna. This is Laughs and Legacies. Hey, welcome back to Laughs and Legacies. This week we have camping stories.
Mm-hmm.
Our family has always been big campers. We used to do tent camping when we were young, but then during our teenage years and such, we got a pop-up trailer.
You crank it up.
Oh yeah, the actual cranking pop-up trailer.
I think it was awesome, actually. I loved it.
I have so many memories in that. I remember at the end of the night, we're disgusting, gross kids, and Mom would put a teapot on the stove with hot water, or, warm up water, and they'd get a cloth, sit us all on the bench, and they'd clean our feet, and then we'd go to bed and clean clothes, clean feet, nice and cozy.
It's a real thing. Clean feet, clean clothes makes you warmer at night. I believe it. Even if it's a lie that they told us just to get clean, I totally believe it, and I will make my kids do the same thing.
In the end, you're going to bed clean, so that's a win. That's
it's
a win.
Always a win. I just always loved that you could stay up all night long staring at the campfire and, telling stories, playing dumb games, like the animal game. Oh my gosh, that was the best game growing up. Where you sit in a circle and everyone gets an animal and you make a sound and an action. And you have to go back and forth.
It's hard to explain. It's just know
the
that
best game.
It's the animal game, okay? And it's legendary.
It was amazing. Anyways, you could stay up all night long playing and whatever, and then still wake up at 4 a.m. How? And then you'd be fine the whole next day.
Let me tell you the most basic thing that you gotta do in camping. At least once, someone's gotta go like this. Ow! And then you hear the people in the campsite next to you, like a mile down or something, they go, ow!
It's the best when you actually hear an actual wolf pack. I think it's
or,
cool.
Coyotes and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Are
It's
there
more
wolves
coyotes.
here?
I think it's more coyotes.
Are there wolves here? Someone fact check, because I want to know. Kayla just told me that she's not a huge fan of s'mores.
Yeah, because they're just... Ugh.
S'mores? Bro, have you seen Sandlot?
Yeah, that's the best line, but that's not the point.
Oh, s'mores are so good. I have some good memories with marshmallows. I love when people say, what's the worst scar you have? I'm like, I have a 3rd-degree burn. They say, what? Where'd you get that from? I'm like, marshmallow, man. Marshmallow. It was on fire, lifted it up, and it fell right in my leg, just splattered, and it was on fire. And eventually, it died out, but I just watched it as it, burnt my leg.
Sizzled your skin.
The fight, flight, and freeze? I'm a freeze. 100% I'm a freeze. And I just watched it, and everyone's like, I was 12, and all the other 12-year-olds
are like,
you're
gonna get that off your leg or what?
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. And I go to the bathroom, and I play doctor and ripped it off, and it was terrible.
Which is the worst thing you could do to a 3rd-degree burn.
I had this terrible wound on my leg for a while. It was pretty bad, but I have a cool
remember that. It was pretty gross.
Yeah, I got out of PE though. I got out of PE because I was like, oh, I don't want to bust my blisters, and they're like, oh yeah, you sit.
Ew.
Sorry. It was a burn, okay? Dad one time, he was with the Boy Scouts, and one of the Boy Scouts, his marshmallow caught on fire, and he was just flinging his stick around, and the marshmallow launches and goes right in the center of Dad's forehead.
Dumb boys, seriously.
Pretty awesome.
Actually, one of our stories is about another Boy Scout trip, but that's going to be our last story, I think. Second to last story. First, we're going to share a couple stories from one of Anna's friends, Kaylin. She has 2 stories. She has a sweet and a sour. So, here we go. Back in July, my grandpa passed away, and his absolute favorite thing was being up north in the pines. My family conveniently had planned a camping trip the day after his services, before we even knew he was close to passing. It was a beautiful coincidence. I decided to drive up after the morning service and spend the night in our camper alone until my family joined me the following afternoon. Most of the night I spent wearing my grandpa's camping jacket and thinking of all the great memories. The next morning I read a book under a pine tree, as he always did. I could feel him there with me in the trip, sitting with me all night and reading alongside me that morning. I haven't felt closer to him since his passing than on that trip. I'm grateful to have been able to grieve my grandpa in his favorite place. That's really sweet. glad she got that time too, because it's a good way to feel close to someone that you love. And then here's her sour. My family reunion every year is held up in the White Mountains. My grandpa is one of 13 kids.
Whew.
I know.
That sounds like an awesome reunion.
That would be a lot of people. And all our families joined in a huge camping trip. Also, sorry, going back to that. That's impressive. They got all their kids, 13 kids, to join in the same family, like, trip. Like, not any of them not showing up. That's like super impressive.
Legendary. Wow.
Because how often can you do that where everyone agrees with all their families? Anyways, continuing. Every year we go tubing down the river, we play 007 at night, and we have campfires. We always have a family talent show as well, where everyone has the opportunity to show off a cool trick or sing a song that they learned. A few years back, one of my second or third cousins brought his new wife. She insisted on signing up for the talent show. He had no idea what she wanted to do, but he agreed to go up with her. She sat him down in a chair and proceeded to sing Sugar by Maroon 5 while giving her husband a lap dance in front of the children and in front of the entire family. There were at least 150 people there.
Shoot.
Hold on.
This girl was brave.
They got divorced a couple months later.
Oh!
It might not have been from that situation specifically, but you know that was a good turning point. If you're gonna do excuse me, do that in front of all your family and you're new to this family. Dang.
You know what? I really gotta ask Kaylin about this, because if I know her at all, like, I'm just imagining her, like, totally enjoying this, though. Like,
really?
Well, like, obviously knowing that this is awkward and a terrible time, but, like,
who does that?
Oh, man. Kaylin, I'll ask you later, because that sounds legendary. Wow, that girl is audacious. The next story is one from high school. Now, I was in
one of yours from high school.
Yeah. Oh, Mobby. Yeah, one of mine from high school. I was in this art class, and I had this really good friend, and she shows up one day, and her ankle is busted. She's in a cast and crutches and everything. I'm like, girl, what happened? She says, I went camping. So she sits down and tells us the story. She's camping with one of her girlfriends and their families, and it's nighttime. They went out to, go pee, and my friend, she's squatting, she's peeing, and her friend's holding the flashlight,
This is a great story to start.
Yeah.
Holding the flashlight for somebody to pee.
Look, that's a true friend. The flashlight holder.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a job. Anyways, they hear rustling in the bushes. A javelina comes out.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Those things are creepy, honestly.
They're fast and they're, like, aggressive, okay?
Yeah, they are.
So, her friend, with the flashlight, books it. She leaves her. Her pants are around her ankles, and she's mid-pee, and she just, like, pulls her pants up, gets pee all over her, and she starts running, okay? And she's trying to run after her friend. She can't see anything. And she eats it. She rolls her ankle in a pothole and just eats it and falls.
How are you telling this story right now? I can't stop laughing.
Girl, this was me, and like when she told us, and she falls forward, but like twists, turns, and she busts her ankle, and she falls, and she sees the javelina running straight towards her, and as it comes up on her, it it saw that she stopped, and so I wonder if it got spooked, but it just changed course and went right past her and into the bushes. It left.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Ankle busted, pee all over you, pants barely up, and deserted by your friend.
Yeah, I don't even have words for that. Oh, that is not a good friend. You're usually my flashlight holder. You better stay with
Girl,
me.
you think I would stay?
You better stay.
Oh, I'm gone.
And not even just the fact that she's pants down, but that she doesn't have a light either. That's just so messed up. You're like trying to run through the forest. I would have egged her way faster than that. I would be like, up, boom.
Hey, she has a gnarly story now. One that I even remember today. That was years and years ago.
Oh, that is so freaking funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. Our next one is that...
the Boy Scout
The
one.
Boy Scout,
Yeah.
sorry. I lost the words for a second. The other Boy Scout story. So, this is from our Uncle Lane. So, I know... When Lane was a young men's president, one of the boys pooped on the pathway that everyone walked on instead of going off into the woods to poop.
What the?
Why? I don't know. But he pooped right where everyone walks, and one of the leaders walked in it. He stepped in it, and he had a fit. And he said, "Who did this?" Nobody fessed up. But all the boys knew who did it.
Oh, okay.
So that night, the boys that had to go went over to the kid that did it, because they all got in trouble. Because nobody fessed up. They all got in trouble.
Hey, at least they weren't narcs. They didn't fess up.
That's true, but I don't know why he didn't just say, "Dude, that was me, I'm sorry." You know, whatever. I don't know. I guess they might have been little and embarrassed.
I mean, dude, as an adult, I don't think I would fess up if I happened to do something like that.
You wouldn't do something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Who
true, that's
poops
true.
in the walkway?
You're right.
Anyways, not the point. So, anybody that had to go throughout the night they pooped in front of his tent.
The kids?
The kid, because they were all mad at him.
Oh, this is the most Boy Scout thing I ever
I
did
know. And so some of those boys are still in that same ward, and they still talk about it to this day because they were so mad at this kid and they wanted to get him back. So they all pooped in front of his tent. I freaking love Boy Scout stories. I remember every time my friends came back from their camping trip, I'd be like, "Okay, what happened? Tell me all about it." And they always had a story. There was always something.
Kayla and I actually added a prompt to our prompt list. And it's going to be about Boy Scouts. Or just 12-year-olds or something like that in general. Because our dad has some pretty awful ones. They're so good.
Our dad has been... Well, he's not right now, but the amount of years that he worked with the camping boys and whatnot has been so long, so he has so many stories. It's great. Oh, I loved it.
Our last one is another one of mine. Before I left on my mission, I had gathered a group of friends and we went camping. It's something that I wanted to do before I wouldn't be able to do it for a while, right? So we go camping. One of my friends and I were just in my tent. We're watching a movie, and we hear moo, moo, like all these cows coming into the campsite and all around us. I'm like, oh shoot, cows are coming around. And we just thought that they would pass through and go. They didn't. In fact, I can't even say it. In fact, a bull had come through. And when I tell you, that was the most outrageous sound I ever heard from a cow. They were not even mooing. They were screaming all night long. It was from the dead of night to the early dusk morning, okay? And
he got busy, man.
He was having a great night, okay? It was awful. And it was so loud. The next morning with all of my friends, I did not sleep a wink, and neither did my friend. And we get out and we talk to everybody else. We're like, and we didn't even say anything. We're like, and the other guys are like, those cows were screwing all night.
I love it. I actually love stories with animals coming into campsites because they're just dumb.
You ever wake up and there's horses just looking in your tent and you're like, oh,
what's up, bro?
Okay. In fact, that morning, some guys we saw a couple other of our friends coming in back into the campsite. I was like, they weren't just waking up. They were like on a walk. We're like, what? Where were you guys? They're like, well, we saw a black bear this morning and we were trying to chase it down. And I'm like,
a black bear? That's like the worst bear to go chase after.
I was like, you guys were chasing a black bear? Actually, I'm pretty
That was
sure.
in Arizona?
Yeah, the black bears are here. Grizzlies
Well,
are the
I
ones
know,
that are
but
scary. Those are the ones you gotta worry about
All,
more.
all bears are scary.
Yeah, but why
They're pretty creatures, but they are not ones to mess with.
Anyways,
What dumb.
camping stories are full of stupidity and...
If they're not, are they really camping stories?
You know what? You're right. You're right.
I love camping. I'm kind of sad that it's too cold to go right now because I just want to take Xander on all of the camping trips. I've only gone on one with him, and I thought he was going to be miserable, but he was a little angel the whole time, and I was like, yes. Except for he chucked a shoe, like brand new shoes, into the fire, and I was pissed.
That's beautiful. See? Stupidity. Just kidding. No, baby.
He's one,
He's
Anna.
a baby. Just a baby. Okay. This concludes our camping story for this stories for this week in this episode. Next week we have
Online dating.
be sure to go and submit those stories. Thank you guys so much.
Ciao.